So question 15 says, find the real solutions, if any, using the quadratic formula. So again, to use the quadratic formula, we have to have the equation in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. So notice how it's going to be set equal to 0. Then our formula is going to be x equals the opposite of plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So it's a good idea to have this formula memorized. It's not all that hard to memorize. You kind of keep the discriminant part first, and then it kind of comes together from there. So notice how, again, to use this formula, we're actually not going to be solving for x. We're actually going to be solving for y this time. So this really is going to be like y equals this formula. So keep that in mind when you solve this thing, that we're actually solving for y. So again, the coefficient of y squared is the a, so that's going to be 7. The b is the coefficient of the linear term, so since it's a minus y, that's going to be a negative 1. And c is the constant, and that's going to give us then the 6. So again, if you can't see things, that's where the circles come into play. The circles help you see the terms. So this is the first term, this is the second term, this is the third term. And so that the operations become the signs of the values. So remember, if it's a positive 6, we don't have to put a plus 6 there. So using the formula, we have actually y equals, we're going to take the opposite of b, so the opposite of a negative 1 is going to be a positive 1, plus or minus the square root of, and then we're going to have b squared, that's going to be a negative 1 squared, minus then this 4 times a. Well, a was 7 times c, which was 6. And then this is going to be over then 2 times 7. 2 times 7 is actually 14. So to do this, we have to do what's inside the discriminant, or inside the radical, which is called the discriminant. So we have in parentheses this negative 1 squared. And again, the parentheses are required there, because if you don't do it, then the calculator is going to give you a negative answer, but we know that a negative times a negative is actually a positive. So minus then this 4 times the 7 times the 6. That's how we get this negative 167. So y is going to equal then 1 plus or minus the square root of negative 167 over 14. But notice how the negative is going to come out as an I. This is going to be 1 plus or minus I squared root of 167 over 14. Well, since it says we want real solutions, this actually is a complex solution. So this is a bigger set. This does not belong to the set of real numbers. So since this is a complex solution and they're asking us to find real solutions, we have to actually use there aren't any real solutions to this problem. They're only going to be imaginary because of the I there. So this has no real solution. So this is what's called an empty set. No solutions. Or I should say no real solutions. It's going to have complex solutions, but no real numbers. Okay.